Well, let's hope our day goes better than that, guys. This freaking guitar. I'm telling you, if you ever bring me one of these, the answer is no. So we're back with the guitar that keeps fighting, and the latest debacle has been I used fish glue to glue down this fingerboard extension onto this part of the neck. So I glued it. I got a good squeeze out both on the inside and the outside from when we clamped it down. Let it sit a couple of days. Came back, cleaned up the squeeze out on the outside, and then came back in a couple of more days, and guess what? We're up. It has become the disjointed. It's kind of irritating. I'm not exactly sure if we are, because I've got one of these feeler gauges that's got sandpaper on it. Before we glued it up, I ran it up on the inside like that, and then I flipped it over and ran it on the back side like that, and then sprayed it out. And so I don't know if the issue that we're having is with the fish glue. I don't know if the issue is with something that was on this board or what. But so we're going to glue it again instead of epoxying it into the neck pocket, which was what the plan was today. Argle bargle. All right, you can see what I've done. I've just used some feeler gauges to kind of wedge this up just long enough for us to get some glue in there. We're going to do the old standby tight bond. In case you were wondering about the police activity up on the corner, I have a four-way stop on the corner of my property, and if you ever want to lose your faith in humanity, just sit and watch people at a four-way stop for a while. They are just dumb as a dumb thing. Alright, we are sufficiently glued in there. Yeah, it was surprising to come in and see that busted out like that. Alright, we'll let that dry the magic 11 minutes, and then we'll come back and scrape all that junk off of there. Alright, we're going to see how long we can go before the batteries run out. I have done a large number of test runs. It's finally time to do the deed, epoxying this neck in on this goofy guitar. What I have decided to go with, again, after consulting with a number of people who have dealt with this ilk of instrument, we're going with a slow cure marine epoxy. The biggest reason is exactly that. It's a slow cure time that's going to allow us to get things where we need them to be and adjusted up the way we need them to be adjusted before it puts the lock on. And then it says that it is properly affixated. If you don't know the story behind that, a long time ago over on the Guitar Channel, I had a guy who was unhappy because I slurped my coffee. And of course, the proper thing to do is slurp your coffee from then on. Just because, really? That's what you're going to get irritated about? So, yeah, I had someone comment on my use of not words, and in my family, it is a tradition and an honor to come up with a word, a made-up word, that works. And affixated is a big one. So anyways, got this epoxy mixed up. Like I said, I've run through this stupid thing a bunch of times. And with any hope, we're not going to be too terribly disastrous about it. But we'll see. With any luck, I'm going to stick my thumb right in the middle of that. I am not happy at all with this epoxy that they have used. Again, because they've got this silica or whatever that they use as a thickening agent, is what I'm told. But it gets super powdery, and you know, I have wiped, and it's slippery, and you know, slippery when you're trying to join two things together, it's not exactly high on your to-do list. And it may or may not have any effect on gluing this up, but we are not taking any chances because I'm doing this guitar exactly one time. The instrucciones say that we can remove any mess with acetone, mineral spirits, or rubbing alcohol. We're using the alcohol. This fretboard, this fingerboard extension is still up high, but man, there's just not really anything I can do about that at this stage. So this is probably going to be a two-part process right here, where we're going to get the neck set in as good as we can, and then try to get that fingerboard extension down in a separate process. I don't really want to do it like that, but I don't have much of a choice because she just does not want to be down. All right, well, there it was. 4 or 5 minutes of terror. Then we just have to wait and see how it turns out. All right. Coffee dripping out of my beard. That's weird. All right, let's unpeel this and then see if we're heroes or zeros. All right, we are done for the most part peeling all of this protective tape off. Now, we did get some weird kind of squeeze out, but the good news is at the moment this stuff is still a little tacky, so we might be able to go in there with just some rubbing alcohol and get that off of there. And then we got some little tiny pieces of tape that I still need to peel off, but the neck angle looks pretty darn close as far as what we were wanting it to be. So we're certainly well within the area of adjustability on getting this where it needs to be. So I'm gonna clean this up as much as we can, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about again, are we the hero or are we the zero on this one? So we spent I don't know, maybe an hour or so getting this neck joint cleaned up. I have a message in to the owner to see if he wants me to try and disguise this white epoxy that is holding this together quite nicely, I might add. We're just going to wait and see. It's going to be his call, whether he thinks his lovely bride will notice it or not. We kind of think she's just going to be very happy to have it back and in playing condition, which it is. Thrown the strings on it. We did kind of do the polish on everything. I gave it half a crank of truss rod loosening, and it's not bad. This is what I hate about these. It's not any different on the lap. If I sit down in the regular guitar playing position, I have to lean way over to counteract the slidey that it wants to do. Put Elixir 47 to 10s, Elixir Nanowebs. It's a different thing. The sound is coming from here instead of down here. Usually you can, when you give a strum, you can feel the air being pumped out of the hole. Well, you can't because your hands aren't up in there. And I played it for a little bit with this off, and it sounds super hollow, super twangy when you do that. So then when you put this back on to it, it makes a much gooder noise. You know, we're gonna keep it a couple of days just to make sure that this epoxy has set the way that it said it's going to set. I feel like I said the word set a lot. And then we'll get to working on getting it back to him. So the moral of the story is, yeah, don't like them. Don't like working on them. Don't like the way that neck pocket is garbage. I don't know. Maybe the higher end Ovations, maybe they're much better. I don't know. But I know that I know that we're going to actively not try to do any more epoxy set neck Ovation guitars as long as I'm sucking wind. It's a great learning experience. Learned I don't want to mess with them anymore. Anyways, I'm James. This has been the Ovation neck reset, and this is the RATTLECAN Guitar Restorations. You guys have a good one. Cheers. Hey, if you like this episode of RATTLECAN Guitar Restorations, you might want to check this video out as well. Be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, and if you'd like to help the channel grow, consider stepping over to our Patreon page and giving that a look. Y'all have a good weekend. Cheers.